This is BBC News with Riz Lateef at 5 o'clock. This is a summary of the main news. Volcanic ash may cause more flight disruption from tomorrow, as people hoping to fly into and out of the UK are being warned of possible delays and cancellations. The Department for Transport says parts of British airspace could face closures until at least Tuesday because of volcanic activity in Iceland. Ed Miliband is to join the battle for leadership of the Labour Party. He'll be standing against his older brother David, but promised that the contest would be civilised. The former Energy Secretary said it had been a depressing week for Labour and the party had to reconnect with the people it aimed to represent.
We have to use this leadership campaign as the first step on the road back to power, because that is where we should be as a political party. And it involves in facing up to uncomfortable truths.
The Thai Prime Minister has said that military intervention is the only way to end an anti-government protest in the heart of Bangkok. On a third consecutive day of street battles, the army used live ammunition against the demonstrators, killing at least 6 people. The protesters responded with grenades. A woman's been charged with the attempted murder of the Labour MP Stephen Timms. Roshanara Chowdhury, who's 21, is accused of stabbing him during a meeting in his constituency in East London yesterday afternoon. The Joint General Secretary of Unite, Tony Woodley, says he'll seriously consider calling off the forthcoming BA cabin crew strikes if volcanic ash leads to a closure of UK airspace. On Monday, the new Transport Secretary Philip Hammond will hold talks with British Airways and Unite to try to avert any industrial action. Thousands of Eurostar passengers are facing long delays after all services through the Channel Tunnel were suspended this morning. Eurotunnel says a carbon dioxide detector mounted in the tunnel sounded an alarm. A limited service is now running, but Eurostar says there will be delays throughout the day. The Ulster Unionist leader, Surej MP, has announced he's to stand down as leader within the next few months. His party failed to win any seats in the general election. A new leader will be in place for the party's annual conference, expected to be at the end of October. A 9-year-old Dutch boy who was orphaned in an air crash in Libya is flying home with his aunt and uncle. Ruben van Asso lost his parents and older brother when their plane came down short of the runway at Tripoli Airport on Wednesday, killing 103 people. He was told last night that the other members of his family had died. After several near misses, Didier Drogba helped Chelsea to a 1-0 win over Portsmouth in the FA Cup final at Wembley. Minutes before the goal, Portsmouth failed to take the lead themselves after Kevin Prince Boateng missed a penalty. And Dundee United have won the Scottish FA Cup final, beating Ross County 3-0. In a couple of minutes, we'll be joined by viewers on BBC One and get more on all of the top stories. But first, the Foreign Secretary William Hague has promised that the government will take a fresh look at extradition arrangements between the UK and the United States. This follows a decision by the previous Labour government to hand over Gary McKinnon to the US authorities on charges of hacking into Pentagon military computers. Mr Hague, who's in Washington for talks, said he wouldn't comment on Mr McKinnon's case while it was under judicial review. His mother, Janice Sharp, told the BBC she was pleased by his remarks.
I absolutely welcome it, because for other people that are undergoing the extradition process, like Liz Prosser and the House family, this is such welcome news. It won't actually affect Gary, because we're expecting probably next week for them to actually end Gary's nightmare and halt the extradition process permanently and allow Gary to be tried here, as promised.
Why are you so confident then that this may be the end of the process for you, that Gary may now see his extradition quashed?
Because everyone's promised it. Nick Clegg, Chris Huhne, David Cameron, Dominic Grieve, they all slated the Labour government for pursuing this, and they all said it has to stop, Gary has to be tried here, and they have promised that if they get into power, this is what would happen. So we're very, very happy about that.
These are all promises made before they formed this coalition government. Do you not worry that now that they're in power, they're going to have to make very dispassionate, hard decisions about whether or not to upset the United States by renegotiating this extradition treaty and not allowing Gary to be extradited?
Well, Gary's legal team are so confident that they've written to the court to ask for the hearing, judicial review, on the 25th and 26th of this month to be cancelled because we have been made these promises. And this government, it's a new government, it's fresh, it's something that's never happened before. And they don't want to be seen as the kind of government that's going to break its promises as soon as it gets in. That would completely wreck its reputation. And it's actually promised to honour its promises. And it will, it absolutely will. It's said goodbye to the old thing of saying one thing and doing another. And I totally trust that they'll do as they've said.